welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we are taking on, well, what might just be the most recognizable grouping of stars in the entire Northern Hemisphere.
Ursa Major, the Great Bear.
Exactly. Or, for most of us, the Big Dipper.
Yep.
It's probably the first thing you ever learned to find in the night sky.
The shortcut to the North Star, right.
But that's just scratching the surface. What we want to do in this deep dive is show that this collection of stars is so much more than a simple landmark. It's a time capsule.
It really is. I mean, it's guided sailors for millennia. It's the anchor for myths that stretch back, maybe 13,000 years?
And on top of all that, it is just jam-packed with some of the most spectacular deep sky objects you can imagine.
Total treasure trove.
So our mission today is to go past that familiar shape and really explore the Great Bear, from its prehistoric roots all the way to modern astronomical discoveries. We want to find out why this one constellation is, well, maybe the most important star group in human history.
It's a fantastic celestial anchor, and you really hit on the right word there. History. Ursa Major is not some modern invention. Its lineage is just incredibly ancient.
We're talking really old.
We are. It was one of the original 48 constellations that were codified by the Greco-Roman astronomer Ptolemy, and that was way back in the 2nd century AD.
And even he was drawing on older sources.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
He was drawing heavily on astronomical works from, the Babylonians, the Assyrians, the Egyptians. It goes way back.
That continuity is just mind-blowing. The idea that the pattern we see tonight is the same one Ptolemy was looking at almost 2,000 years ago. It really puts things in perspective.
It does, and yet it's still critically important in modern astronomy.
Right.
Its name, Ursa Major, literally just means greater bear.
To distinguish it from Ursa Minor, the lesser bear.
Exactly, and it is huge. Today, it's recognized as the 3rd largest of all 88 modern constellations. It covers this massive patch of sky, almost 1,300 square degrees.
And the key thing for anyone listening in the Northern Hemisphere is that you can always see it. If you're in, say, the U.S., Canada, or Europe, it's always there.
It's what we call circumpolar. It never fully sinks below the horizon. It just circles and circles around Polaris.
That constant presence is what made it so reliable, I imagine.
Absolutely. That's why it was such a dependable guide. And why you can see it any time of year. Its best viewing time, when it's really high and clear, is around 9 p.m. in April.
But even in the dead of winter, it's still up there, pointing the way north.
Always.
Okay, let's unpack this iconic shape. Section 1. The anatomy of the Dipper and the road to Polaris. The 7 brightest stars are what we all recognize, but what's so cool is how different cultures saw totally different things.
Yes, exactly. In the U.S. and Canada, we see a ladle, so we call it the Big Dipper.
Simple enough.
But if you go to the U.K., they'll immediately call it the plow.
A farm tool.
Right. And historically, it was also called Charles's wain, or just the wagon. So you have a utensil, a tool, a vehicle, but they all capture that same basic shape.
And in the grander picture of the bear, this shape, the bowl and the handle, is supposed to be the bear's.
What, its hindquarters and its tail?
Its hindquarters and its impossibly long tail.
Right. Bears do not have long tails. That always struck me as odd.
It's a total visual quirk. It suggests that the tail part, the handle, was probably tacked on by later astronomers like Ptolemy to, make the stars fit the pre-existing story of a bear.
Forcing the stars to fit the myth.
It's a classic case of that. But if we actually look at the stars themselves, moving from the ladle's bowl out through the handle, you start to see just how diverse this group is.
So let's do a quick breakdown. We'll start with the 2 stars that form the outer edge of the bowl, the pointer stars.
First up is Duba, Alpha Ursae Majoris. It's the 2nd brightest star in the whole constellation, and its name literally means the bear in Arabic.
So its name is the constellation?
Pretty much.
Sure. And
right next to it, making the other pointer, is Merak, Beta Yuma. Its name means the loins of the bear.
Okay. Then moving along the bottom of the bowl, you get Fecta, which means thigh, and then connecting the bowl to the handle is Migris.
Migris.
Yeah.
Its name is root of the tail, which is a perfect description. I heard it's the faintest of the 7.
It is, yeah. Now we get to the handle, starting with Alioth, Epsilon Yuma. This one's actually the brightest star in all of Ursa Major.
Brighter than Dubhe.
Just slightly, yeah. But what's really fascinating about Alioth is that it's the brightest example of what we call a chemically peculiar app star.
Chemically peculiar. Okay, that sounds dramatic. What does that mean?
Well, it is pretty dramatic. It has to do with magnetism. App stars have incredibly powerful magnetic fields, and these fields actually cause the chemical elements inside the star to Well, to separate.
So they sort themselves out.
Exactly. Heavier elements like silicon or strontium get pulled toward the magnetic poles, while lighter ones might get pushed to the equator. So as the star rotates, the amount of each element we see in its light spectrum seems to change.
Just like an optical illusion of shifting chemistry.
That's a perfect way to put it. And to add another layer of weirdness, the name Alioth itself is a historical mistake. It means black horse, but the name was actually corrupted and misassigned from a different star centuries ago.
That's wild. Okay, which brings us to the most famous pair in the handle, Mizar and Alcor.
The horse and rider, as the Arabs famously called them. Mizar is the main star, and Alcor is its fainter companion.
And this was an eye test, right?
A classic one. In many cultures, but especially for archers in ancient Arabian armies, being able to resolve those two separate points of light with the naked eye was a standard test of good vision.
A practical, everyday use for the stars. And then finally, at the very tip of the handle, the end of the tail.
You have Alkaid, the third brightest star in the constellation.
So those are the 7 stars.
Mm-hmm.
But the big aha moment comes when you realize how they're moving.
Yes. This is what blows people's minds. If you came back in, say, 50,000 years, the Big Dipper wouldn't look like a dipper at all.
Wait, so the shape isn't permanent? I think most of us just assume they're all connected and will stay that way forever.
And that's the big misconception. With 2 exceptions, Duhay and Alkaid, the other 5 stars are actually moving together.
Together. Through space.
As a group. They're physically related. They form what astronomers call the Ursa Major moving group. They were likely born from the same cloud of gas and dust about 300 million years ago and are all traveling in the same direction.
So 5 of them are a cosmic family, and the 2 on the ends, Dubhe and Alkaid, are just cosmic neighbors passing by.
Exactly. They have completely different trajectories, so over thousands of years, their movement is going to stretch and warp the dipper shape until it's completely unrecognizable.
That's incredible. It's a reminder that we're just seeing one snapshot in a very, very long cosmic dance.
But for now, their most famous function is still navigation, and that relies entirely on those 2 outliers, Dubhe and Merak.
The pointer stars. The method is so simple, but so effective.
Infallible. You just trace a line from Merak through Duhay, continue it for about 5 times that distance, and your eye lands directly on Polaris.
The North Star. True north.
Every time. And since Ursa Major is always visible, it's one of the fastest, most reliable ways to orient yourself, even today.
So these stars were essential.
Yeah.
But turning to the cultural side, it's amazing how other people saw completely different images in the sky.
Oh, absolutely. While we're fixated on the Dipper, pre-Islamic Arabs saw something totally different along the southern border of the constellation.
Not a bear or a ladle.
Not at all. They saw 3 pairs of stars that they imagined as the footprints of a leaping gazelle.
A leaping gazelle, that's so much more elegant than a bear with a long tail.
Isn't it? They called them the 3 leaps. And what's interesting is that this same 3-step pattern shows up elsewhere.
It traveled.
It seems so. In China, it's called Santai, and in India, Trivikrama. Both names mean something like 3 steps. It just shows you how different mythologies can spring from the same canvas of stars.
All right, this is where it gets really interesting for me. In section 2, we're jumping from ancient navigation to the real cutting edge of cosmology, because Ursa Major is just full of incredible deep sky objects.
It is a phenomenal hunting ground for astronomers, and that's because it lies away from the plane of our own Milky Way.
So there's less dust and gas in the way, a clearer view.
A crystal clear window into the distant universe, which is why it hosts some of the brightest galaxies we can see.
And we have to start with the main event, Messier 81 and Messier 82.
The showstoppers. They're a pair of galaxies, part of the closest galaxy cluster to our own, only about 12 million light years away, and they are locked in a gravitational battle.
M81 Bode's galaxy is the pretty one, right? The perfect spiral.
It's a textbook grand design spiral. We see it nearly face-on, with these beautiful sweeping arms full of young, hot blue stars.
And M82 is the messy one, the cigar galaxy.
M82 is the dramatic one. We see it almost edge-on, and because of that gravitational tug-of-war with M81, it's undergoing what we call starburst.
Meaning it's forming stars at an insane rate.
An absolutely furious rate, maybe 10 times faster than our entire Milky Way. And all that violent activity is creating these massive stellar winds, or super winds, that are blowing out from the galaxy's disk.
Just blasting gas and dust out into space.
For thousands of light years, it's an incredibly energetic, violent place, which is why it was so exciting in 2014 when astronomers spotted a supernova, SN 2014, erupting inside M82.
A star exploding. visible from 12 million light-years away.
Wow.
It temporarily outshone its entire host galaxy. But the wonders don't stop there. You also have the pinwheel galaxy, M101.
Another stunning spiral.
Oh.
But much farther away, right?
Much farther, about 25 million light years. But M101 is enormous, almost twice the size of the Milky Way, and it's so full of bright star-forming regions that despite its distance, you can actually spot it with a decent pair of binoculars.
That's amazing. And we also have a local object, the Owl Nebula.
M97, a planetary nebula. It's the colorful, expanding shell of gas from a dying star, and it gets its name from two dark patches inside that look like a pair of glowing owl eyes. Really beautiful.
Beyond those famous ones, though, Ursa Major has galaxies that show us, well, the raw physics of the universe.
Yeah.
Supermassive black holes at work.
Yes, like NGC 3079. It's a starburst galaxy with this really distinct horseshoe-shaped structure right at its core.
And that horseshoe is a clue.
It's direct evidence of the supermassive black hole. The shape is created by powerful jets of material being blasted out by the black hole, carving a massive bubble in the surrounding gas.
You can literally see the black hole's influence.
You can. And then there's NGC 3310, another starburst galaxy. Its bright white color comes from an unusually high rate of star formation, and studying it has shown us that these starburst phases can last for hundreds of millions of years.
So it's more a marathon than a sprint.
Exactly. But for pure youth, there's a galaxy called IceWiki 18.
Okay.
It's considered an astronomical infant. We think it's only about 4 million years old.
4 million. Our solar system is 4.5 billion years old. That's nothing.
It's a baby. It's still making its first generation of stars from almost pure hydrogen and helium. It's like a living laboratory for how the very first galaxies in the universe must have formed.
So we have ancient human myths and infant galaxies in the same patch of sky.
Right.
And the modern exploration doesn't stop there. We're also finding exoplanets.
Yes, several important systems. The benchmark is probably 47 Ursae Majoris. It's a star very similar to our sun, about 46 light years away.
And it has planets.
A confirmed 3-planet system. All of them are gas giants, like Jupiter. It's a really important system for comparison to our own.
But the really wild one is HD 8606b. That orbit is just insane.
It is an extreme case. It's a huge planet, 4 times the mass of Jupiter, and its orbit is incredibly eccentric. It swings from about Earth distance from the sun all the way in to just 6 times the star's own radius.
6 stellar radii. The heat must be unimaginable.
It experiences these massive flash heating events, but the really cool part is what's happening over time. We think it's a future hot Jupiter.
Meaning its orbit is changing.
It's being forced to change by something called the Kozai mechanism. The gravity of its companion star in the binary system is slowly forcing the orbit to become less eccentric and more circular over millions of years.
So we're watching a planet's entire orbital evolution in progress.
It's a phenomenal piece of cosmic mechanics at work.
Okay, so if we connect all this incredible science back to the bigger picture, that brings us to section 3. The mythology. This is where Ursa Major becomes this deep cultural anchor for all of humanity.
It's the foundational layer. The Great Bear concept is so old that it's been reconstructed as a core Indo-European myth. It predates the dispersal of those people across Europe and Asia.
Which leads to this wild theory of the cosmic hunt.
Right. The idea that there's a shared oral tradition that goes back more than 13,000 years, deep into the Paleolithic. The reconstructed story is of a hunter pursuing a large animal, maybe an elk, not a bear, and the hunt is so intense it carries them up into the sky where the animal becomes the Big Dipper.
13,000 years. A story that survived the end of the Ice Age. That's just... I can't even wrap my head around that.
It speaks to the power and permanence of that shape in the sky. The Greeks, of course, later put their own dramatic spin on it.
The tragedy of Callisto.
Callisto, a nymph of Artemis, is assaulted by Zeus. His jealous wife Hera finds out, and as punishment, turns Callisto into a bear.
And then to prevent her own son, Arcas, from accidentally hunting and killing her, Zeus steps in.
He does. He places them both in the sky. Callisto as Ursa Major, the Great Bear, and her son Arcas as the constellation Buix, the bear keeper, forever watching over his mother.
But even with that tragic story, the Greeks knew its practical importance. You see it in Homer's Odyssey.
Exactly. Homer calls it Helike, the turning one, because it was the one constellation that never set, that never bathes in the ocean's waves. It was their constant rotating guide.
Now, if we jump over to Arabian folklore, the perspective shifts completely. They didn't see a hunt, they saw a funeral.
A very somber one. They called it the Greater Funeral Procession. The 4 stars at the bowl are the bier, and the 3 stars at the handle are the mourners following it.
And they're chasing someone.
They're locked in an eternal pursuit. They're chasing the murderer of their father, who is represented by Aljude, the North Star, a cosmic story of vengeance that circles the pole every single night.
So different. Meanwhile, in India, it's a symbol of wisdom.
The Hindu tradition knows it as Saptarshi, the 7 sages. Each star represents a divine rishi, one of the mind-born sons of Brahma who hold all cosmic knowledge.
And the records of this are ancient.
Some of the oldest in the world. The first mention is in the Rig Veda, from around 1500 BCE. And their tradition even incorporates the pointer stars. They're seen as a divine gift from Lord Vishnu to a young sage, Dhruva, who became the North Star.
So it's both spiritual and practical. Then in East Asia, in China, it becomes a set of tools.
A set of celestial instruments, yeah. They called it Biiglu, the North Dipper. Each star had a functional name. The pivot, the pearl, the balance, the measuring rod. The sky was a divine machine for governing the universe.
I love that. And the star at the end of the handle, Al-Qaeda, had this really ominous nickname.
It did. It was called the Star of Military Defeat.
Seriously.
Yeah, ancient military strategists believed that marching your army in the direction it pointed was incredibly bad luck, so they would literally plan campaigns to avoid it.
The stars directly influencing battlefield decisions. Finally, let's look at the North American and Northern European traditions, because they often come back to that ancient theme of the hunt.
The Iroquois tradition is a great example. They see the 3 handle stars not as a tail, but as 3 hunters pursuing the great bear.
And they have their gear with them.
They do. The first hunter, Alioth, has the bow. The second, Mizar, is carrying the cooking pot, which is brilliantly represented by the little companion star, Alcor.
Ah, that's perfect.
And the third hunter, Alkide, is carrying the firewood. It's a whole story playing out up there every night.
But for sheer existential dread, nothing beats the Sami tradition from Northern Europe.
This one is world-ending, literally. The Sami people see most of the Dipper as Fabna's bow. Fabna is their great celestial hunter, and he's aiming at Sarva, the great reindeer, a constellation that takes up half the sky.
So the bow is always drawn. What's the danger?
The danger is Polaris, the North Star. The Sami call it Boaji, which means the rivet.
The rivet.
Yes. They believe the entire sky is a giant dome held in place by that one single central rivet. And Fafnir hesitates to shoot his arrow every night because if he misses the reindeer and hits the rivet,
The sky would collapse.
the sky would collapse and end the world. It's the ultimate high-stakes myth, a perfect encapsulation of the importance of that one fixed point in the sky.
Wow. That's a perfect place to end the mythology. It shows how Ursa Major is a guide, a map, a storybook, and a potential trigger for the apocalypse.
It's this living link connecting deep space science, ancient navigation, and these incredibly powerful survival myths.
And the Great Bear is still a powerful symbol in modern culture, too.
Its silhouette is timeless. You see it in art like Van Gogh's Starry Night over the Rhone.
And in politics. The Story Plow, the flag of the Irish labor movement.
A powerful symbol. And of course, the state flag of Alaska, where the Big Dipper represents the North and endurance.
It's everywhere. But we have to circle back to that one visual quirk we started with. The bear's ridiculously long tail.
The anatomical problem, which has led to some clever reimagining. The most famous is probably from H.A. Rey.
The author of Curious George.
The very same. He wrote a book in the 50s called The Stars, A New Way to See Them, and he redrew the constellations to make them look more like their namesakes.
So what was his solution for Ursa Major?
He flipped it around. He suggested that Al-Qaeda, the star at the tip of the handle, should actually be the bear's nose.
Oh.
And the handle then forms the top of the bear's head and its long neck. The shape it creates is much more convincing. It looks like a great polar bear stalking across the sky.
It completely changes the picture. It actually looks like a bear.
It's a wonderful example of how we can still find new ways to see the same old stars.
So what does this all mean for you when you look up tonight?
It means that when you find the Big Dipper, you're not just finding north. You're taking part in a tradition that might be older than farming. You're looking at a patch of sky that holds infant galaxies and dying stars, all while our ancestors saw hunters and sages and funeral processions.
So challenge your own view.
Yeah.
Don't just see a ladle. Try to see the bear with its impossible tail. Or maybe try to see H.A. Rey's polar bear. Or the 3 hunters with their pot and their firewood. What stands out to you when you look up at the Great Bear?
And if you happen to see Fafna's bow drawn tight, well, for all our sakes, Let's just hope he keeps a steady hand. We'd really like the sky to stay right where it is.